Hey guys, Tythos here. Decided I was going to make a little PvE sub guide for the rogue. I've been doing really well with the sub spec lately and been a top DPS in my raid group, so I figured I'd give a little in-depth video on what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. So let's get started with talents. The first talent I go with is Shadow Focus. It makes your abilities cost 75% less when you're in stealth, which is big because that makes your ambush only 15 energy, and that lets you just jump right into your rotation without having to worry about stopping to pool a little bit of energy for another backstab or a rupture or a hemo. My next talent I go with is Combat Readiness. This talent is above the other two for PvE by far. Even though it's not going to help your DPS anything, it's a free defensive cooldown, which your healers will appreciate. Then I go with Cheat Death. Some people will go with Leech Poison here. I don't think the healing from Leech Poison is all that much. It's only 15% from the damage that the poison does, and the Shiv effect is only 4% of your max health, and Shiv costs 20 energy, so that's not a real big heal for how much energy you're going to give up and slow down your rotation. So Cheat Death I think is a lot better, and healers will be able to get off heals on you if you're about to die easier. I run Shadow Step with the 60 talent because it's free. It's 25 yards, gives you a little speed boost when you do it for 2 seconds, and there's a lot of fights where you're going to get knocked back, like Kargath and Butcher and Puritor, and there's a lot of fights where the tanks are going to be kiting the bosses, so you just got to stick with the boss. So the only fight I don't run Shadow Step on is the Bracken Spore fight. I run Burst of Speed because I use a flamethrower, and stacking Burst of Speed with Sprint is really good for clearing the moss. The reason I don't run Burst of Speed on the other fights is because it costs 30 energy and Shadow Step is free. This next talent, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. It's really preference. It's only going to help you on clearing trash because it's more of a PvP talent, so go ahead and go with what you want. I go with Prey on the Weak. The next talent for the level 90 talent, this is a big one. A lot of people have looked at Marked for Death and Anticipation, and they're pretty close. I like Anticipation, especially if you're just starting off as a rogue. It gives you the ability to have 5 extra combo points stashed. So if you're at max combo points, and say it's the Kargath fight and you get knocked back and you're not supposed to go up into the stands, you can sit out there and you don't have to worry about wasting combo points that you can generate from Honor Among Thieves, where your teammates are critting and giving you combo points. So it's a real forgiving talent, whereas Marked for Death, you use it, it instantly gives you 5 combo points, and then it resets if the target dies within 1 minute after it's used. It's a 1 minute cooldown, so you know, it's for the people who have perfected the fight and their rotation so they can get off big burst. I think Marked for Death right now is about a 1% increase in DPS, which isn't all that much for how spot on you have to be for it. And then I go with Shadow Reflection. It's going to watch you for 8 seconds, and the next 8 seconds it's going to do the exact same moves that you do. I link that with Shadow Dance, and the big key with Shadow Reflection and Shadow Dance, if you're going to make a macro like I do, or if you're just going to use them right after the other, because they're both instant and they're free. So you want to make sure you pop Shadow Reflection first, so that your Shadow Reflection will pop Shadow Dance and they will hit the ambushes with you. The glyphs I run, I use Glyph of Energy because sub has no other way of generating more max energy. I use Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins because it gives your hemorrhage the bonus from Sanguinary Vein, which is important. Your Rupture should never fall off, and Rupture gives you that bonus, but just in case it were to fall off for a second or two, you're still getting those melees with the 20% damage bonus. And then I go Cloak of Shadows, which gives you 40% less physical damage taken while Cloak is active. And that's just a nice little defensive cooldown to help your healers out on certain fights where a lot of damage is going out. I'm going to quickly touch on the stats. Obviously, Agility is a rogue's main stat, but for sub, Mastery and Multi-Strike are just dead even right now. I prefer Multi-Strike because it affects everything. It affects your dots and all your moves, your finishing maneuvers and everything, but my Mastery is a lot higher. Mastery increases the damage of your finishing moves and effectiveness of Slice and Dice, so I wouldn't want my Mastery to fall below 40%. It's at 40.85 right now, but I do want my Multi-Strike to be at about 20% or more. And the only thing I'm doing is I'm not like seeking out a ton of gear that has just Multi-Strike, because a lot of the gear that has Multi-Strike will have Mastery on it, and you're going to end up with a lot of Mastery gear anyways. I'm gemming for Multi-Strike, and I'm enchanting for Multi-Strike. Now you can go ahead and just stack all the Mastery you want, but I prefer Multi-Strike right now. So that's the basic little run through of the talents, glyphs, and stats for the PvE sub-rogue. Go ahead and check out my rotation video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope it will help you guys out a lot in PvE. Have fun.